We're live.
Just like
We
that.
are
No
already,
yeah.
just like that, just
There's
like that.
no countdown.
Well, how are you doing? Well, Josh, welcome, as I always like to
There's the
say,
energy.
welcome to another episode. We're creeping up, I think, close to the 40s of the Goal Line Guys.
We've been doing this. Yeah, because we started the week before last year, like the week before week 1 of last season.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like 8 or 9 months.
We're getting old,
Crazy.
man. We're getting old. We're losing ideas about what to talk about. We're just making stuff up as we go through. I mean, I feel like we've searched every rock under the sun, but
no,
we're
we
here.
have so much stuff.
We actually do. We actually do have a lot of stuff. But we're here. We're back. We're feeling good. Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And today is the second installment of last week's kind of divisional expectations, offseason understandings.
Yeah, a little breakdown of like their entire offseason, including the drafts and as well as expectations forward.
That's a perfect vocabulary to put it. That's sophistication at its finest. We did the NFC West.
Yep.
And now we're doing the AFC West.
Across the river.
Across the river. One of the most competitive divisions out there, throughout the past couple of years, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a lot. Some of them made a bunch of big moves. Some of them didn't make any moves at all. This is probably one of the more dull divisions we have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you just want to dive right into it and get it started. I know we got 2 teams each split about. So if you want to get started on a team, Josh, why don't you pull the rug under my feet and take it away, brother?
Yeah, I think so. With doing the AFC West, I think I'll start off with the Broncos because their moves make sense and it's very limited amount. They were very quiet in free agency, mostly kind of trying their best to retain some people. I think their biggest loss, honestly, was John Franklin Myers to the Titans, your big pass rushing D tackle. But they were all quiet. They were kind of just re-signing their own guys until one big thing, and that was their trade for Pro Bowl wide receiver Jalen Waddle from the Miami Dolphins. They ended up giving up a first, a fourth, and a sixth. And I mean, and we've talked about this right when it happened. This Jalen Waddle trade is perfect for the Broncos. Yeah. Obviously, the Broncos were 1 game away from the Super Bowl last year with a backup quarterback. So I think to them, they were trying their best to maintain the same core of players that they had. But you were able to upgrade with Jalen Waddle because you had players like Marvin Mims last year. I mean, there were so many times where Marvin Mims was your big play, playoff riser.
Ooh, oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, not a great room. They have a lot of young guys. Pat Bryant last year, Tez Johnson, or no, it was Franklin.
Yeah, Troy Franklin. Troy
Franklin. Tez Johnson was his teammate.
Yeah.
But it's just other bodies behind Cortland, and they didn't have that continuous deep threat. So they go out and they get the best deep threat on the market in Jalen Waddle. And we said this as the time you get a younger guy that's already on contract, so you don't have to worry about that. Yep. I think it's a great pick, especially when you have a quarterback like Bo Nix, who is still in his rookie contract as well.
Yes.
So offseason did not do much, but with their limited things that they did really well with that Jalen Waddle trade. With that trade, it also led to some stuff, including a lack of picks. And honestly, with those picks, I think they did a pretty good job. So they had their first pick was round 3, pick number 66, Tyler Onyedin, D-tackle, Texas A&M. This guy's a little bit smaller. This is supposed to be your John Franklin Myers replacement. He's a guy that's pretty stout against the run and has that ability to pass rush. So it's kind of what you're hoping. They always have a continuous rotation of D linemen. I'm trying to think. They have Zach Allen, Roach, just a bunch of guys.
Yeah, they got a lot of movement. Yeah,
and they rotate them a lot. So this is a perfect place to come in as a younger D tackle and really be able to train up those skills. round four, this is actually probably my favorite pick that they had, and that's pick 108, Jonah Coleman, Washington.
Yeah.
Jonah Coleman to me fits perfectly in the system. He is a guy that to me is the best power back, best one of the best receiving backs, and the best pass protector in the entire draft.
Hmm.
That's something that they need when they have two running backs that are more agile, one cut players. J.K. Simmons or J.K. Dobbins, um,
J.K.
J.K.
Simmons.
Dobbins re-signing. So Jonah Coleman is a player that I really am glad they got, and I think he fits in that system. Round five is the last pick to me that's noticeable. That could potentially get some playing time. And that's Justin Jolie from NC State. Their
Hmm.
tight end room, including Evan Ingram, has been pretty poor, at least expectation wise. So you get a guy that's a little bit younger, that's a little bit that Evan Ingram, bigger slot receiver like Justin Jolie. I think it's a fantastic pick. Um, I think the biggest thing from the Broncos offseason wise is you're trying to retain your team with a quarterback that's in the rookie deal while trying to find minimal upgrades that you can do. And that's what they did with bringing in someone like Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect way to put it. I think
Mm-hmm.
when you looked at this team through the offseason, I think the Broncos were one of the most just overall well balanced teams. You looked
Yeah.
at their roster and you're like, where are the weaknesses? There's really not many. So going in, I think the Jalen Waddle trade is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cortland Sutton has been a really underappreciated receiver for his time in Denver. But again, you want Bo Nix to have as many weapons as possible. I think Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin are great wide receiver 3 kind of guys, but
Yep.
they're not like they haven't really made that step up to the wide receiver 2 spots. Tight ends have been disappointing, as you said. Running backs are really interesting for them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not really sure what their plan is with RJ Harvey. Um, it's a weird. It's a really.
It's a
It's like
interesting group.
it's just a bunch of like good running backs. No one is
Yeah.
like necessarily taking. I mean, Dobbins was really good, but he keeps getting hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
So unfortunate.
yes, it
And
is
I,
really
I
unfortunate.
fully do think with Jonah Coleman's skills, he will be that goal line and third down package.
Hey, we
So
love those goal line guys, man. We
we
love those
love
goal
those
line
goal line
guys.
guys. So I don't know if that means RJ Harvey and Dobbins are going to be splitting carries, like play like series, like what David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs have done in the past, or it's going to
Mhm.
be situational because RJ Harvey is a better receiving back, but JK Dobbins has that experience. Just it's going to be interesting to see that running back room as the season continues or
Yeah,
starts.
I like the way you put it. They're in there.
Hmm.
They did what they could in their prime. I think given it getting Jalen Waddle in that position, hopefully the defense kind of stays the same, even though they did lose John Franklin Myers and Dre Greenlaw.
Right.
Um,
Justin
but
Chernad, though, played very well when he was given the opportunity, and they were
yeah,
able to re-sign him.
he's probably going to be a full time starter
Hmm.
alongside Singleton. So yeah, I mean, I can't really be mad with what they've done, although it hasn't
Yeah,
been the most entertaining off season in the world, besides the Jalen Waddle trade, obviously.
yeah. I mean, it helps when
Um,
you already have the best offensive line as well as a defensive player of the year and a almost defensive runner up, and Nick Benito there as well.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yes, Broncos,
Hmm.
congratulations with the Jalen Waddle trade. Hopefully Bo Nix and Sean Payton won't beef
Hopefully,
anymore.
his ankle works. Have you
Yes.
seen some of those
Oh,
those
it's like
pictures?
it's like an angle. It looks like a
It's
it's like a,
he's like looks like he's bow-legged now
yes,
because of
it
that
does.
surgery.
It's really weird. I don't know. That's really I do not like that. Hey, you
Mm,
got Stidham in the back if you're feeling good about it.
mm, yeah.
But yeah, I can't. All right, I'll move on. I'm cracking too many jokes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm feeling extra funny today. But a team that has not been had a very funny off season is the Los Angeles Chargers. One of the most disappointing off seasons, in my opinion. They had a lot of money. I think they
They
were
had
third in the
over 80
league.
plus
Yep,
million.
over 80 plus million. You've already paid your quarterback, and your biggest signings are Tyler Biazdaz, former Commander center, and I actually do like the signing. 3 years, 30 million.
Yep.
He's a good player, right? And it's
Hmm.
better than the worst center in the league.
And
All my
Bradley
respect
Bozeman.
to Bradley Bozeman.
Yep.
Um, and then a blocking tight end to Charlie Kolar, which you
A
pay $8
lot of
million
money.
a year to.
Three
And
years,
I'm not
24
saying I don't.
million.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like Charlie Kolar. I just it's a really interesting pickup for them. But I know the 12 personnel kind of hype train phenom is
Hmm.
is blowing up and blowing up across the NFL. I guess a couple other ones. They brought back Khalil Mack, which is good. Dalvin Tomlinson they bring in, veteran defensive tackle. They did lose. They brought another good one. Another one I like. Alec Ingold coming from the
Hmm.
Dolphins to the Chargers, getting a
So,
fullback in there.
yeah, give that.
Um, Mike McDaniel fullback.
Yep.
But really, the main thing, I mean, you preach about it with the Chargers is interior offensive line. Their offensive line. They lost every single play. They cut Mekhi
Hmm.
Becton, which was no surprise. They lose Zion Johnson, which he went for way too much money. Bradley Bozeman retires, and you go into the draft with no guards or no
Cole
guards. Cole
or
Strange.
Cole Strange is who
Cole
was their
Strange, which
big offensive line signing.
I don't even think I need to talk about that. It kind of speaks for itself.
Yep.
Uh, but
Strange pickup.
their draft, I'm mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. Akeem
Hmm.
Mesidor at 22. I like Mesidor. I know you're a really big
Yep.
fan of him. His whole thing is proven pass rusher. Probably is the most steady pass rusher in the draft. But he is 25 years old. He's an older prospect. His next contract will be when he's 30 years old. I like the pick.
Hmm.
Pass rush is a priority. This team is in contention mode, so I don't think they're really worried about the age of their prospects that they bring in. I mean, Khalil Mack is definitely an older guy, but other than that, you don't have a lot of outside presence other than Tuli Tuipulotu. So bringing him in on that pass rush rotation, get a proven guy, I like that move. You're bolstering your defense. You're getting a replacement for Odafe Owe. You're
Yeah.
upgrading that pass rush.
Especially when you don't have to pay him 25 million a year.
Yes,
Like Odafe got.
100%. Yes, a little too.
A lot of
Again,
money.
I have my own opinions on that, but
And we'll get to him. We'll get to the Commanders.
interesting one. Jake Slaughter out of Florida, drafting another center who they listed at playing guard.
Hmm.
Really interesting. Pregnon was still on the board. I'm not really sure like what their process was. If they saw Slaughter's center reps and think, yeah, this guy can move the guard. Listen, you're picking up a big human being who was productive at Florida. I mean, you're from
Yeah. I
Florida.
mean, I can speak a little bit about him. He was an All-American for a reason, but he
Yeah.
was an All-American at the center position.
Yes.
And I'll say this, I believe it's easier for guards and even tackles to move to center. I think it's harder for centers to move out. We've seen the past, um, most like Graham Barden, for example, from the Bucks, was a first round pick, played guard and tackle from Duke and moved to center, and he's productive. And then we've
Yes.
seen situations like Jackson Powers Johnson move from center to guard and was not able to produce. So I'm not quite sure who's going to be day one starting center for them.
Yeah, I mean they in the draft they listed him as a guard, so it's like they know that he's going to be
Hmm.
so like listen, it's offensive line help, I get it, but it's interesting to take another center and just say, "Hey, we're going to move this guy." It's a little bit of a risky pick. I'm not like the worst fan of it, but I'm not like an
Yeah.
absolute hater on it. I guess some other big ones. They really didn't address offensive line again until their final two sixth round picks.
Hmm.
They did draft a swing tackle in Travis
A
Burke.
big dude.
Again, another older prospect, 6'8", 325 pounds. I like this pick. You got
Yep.
two tackles that are extremely injury prone, and their offensive line depth at the tackle position. I don't want Austin Decalis on the
I don't
field
want
for
Trey
them.
Pickens.
Trey Pipkins, me neither. And then finally, one I had a little bit of questions about Or actually, I'll say another one I liked. I like Genesis Smith out of Arizona. I
Hmm.
thought that was a really noteworthy pick. Getting him in the 5th round, a really productive safety. I saw some teams mock him in the 2nd to 3rd rounds. Getting some safety depth alongside Derwin James and I think it's Tony Jefferson, who's definitely
Yep.
an older player. I like that a lot. The final one I had questions about was Brennan Thompson,
Yeah, I
wide
was.
receiver to Mississippi State. Absolute speedster, 5'9", 164 pounds, but he is blazing fast.
Hmm.
Really, really fast. Mike McDaniel likes his fast guys. He likes his fast kind of down the field guys, but he's just kind of that guy. He's a fast, explosive player who doesn't have a crazy route tree. And
Hmm.
this receiving room just looks like a lot of meh. People forget they drafted Trey Harris in the 2nd round last year, Quentin
Yep.
Johnston, Lad McConkey. So is it a major priority to draft another receiver in the 4th round when you have those lingering offensive line issues and maybe even depth on the defensive side?
Hmm.
So again, I'm not in love with the draft, but I think some of the picks are better than some people thought. The whole thing with them is obviously they started so well last year. They looked like an amazing team. Can they replicate it? You have
Yeah.
coaching changes, you lose Jesse Minter, but Mike McDaniel's a fantastic offensive coordinator, and hopefully he can finally push Herbert over that good, not great, like good, not
Hmm.
great level.
And you
And
finally get him a playoff win, which is yet
yes,
to have in his career.
get him a playoff win, keep the consistency, make sure he doesn't get sacked all the time. And
Hmm.
still, I have questions about what their plan is with the interior offensive line, because to me, you have 2 out of 3 positions filled at this moment. Um, and then defensively, it's can Minter get back? Can the loss of Minter? Can you get back on the trail? You drafted some guys you could probably plug and play and move around, but
Hmm.
in a division where I think I'd probably say 2 out of the 3 teams, or maybe 3 out of the 3 teams, because you could count Jalen Waddle making a massive improvement. This team did not improve the most out of anyone. They improved the least. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions where are they going to be able to keep up with everyone else in that division who has brought in a lot of new talent to consistently improve themselves?
Yeah, I think looking from an outside perspective, I do think the Chargers are the most disappointing team just because they had 80 plus million and their biggest need was at offensive line. And the only person that they brought in, well, I guess they brought in 2 people, but they needed so much help interior and Tyler Bidas. And then you bring in Cole Strange when there were some really good guards, David Edwards especially, that were on the market that could fit perfectly into the system. Another big question mark I have this team is their running back room. Now, last year
Yes.
they
Oh,
had
yes.
they had issues last year with Omari and Hampton, Najee Harris both getting injured at times. Now they have Omari and Hampton, who I guess they're hoping for a big year 2. Keenan Mitchell brought over from the Ravens,
I like
but
that. I like that
I
move.
I like
Yeah.
the move. You still have Kamani Vidal, but
Yes.
you're really hoping on the production and the development of Omari and Hampton. But if not, this can very quickly become a very poor offense that's relying a lot on the pass game with still a poor offensive line and not a true number one wide receiver or really many weapons around Herbert.
Yeah, I think I think yeah. Oh yeah, of course. I think it's
Hmm.
the question is who's going to break out first. You thought it was going to be Lad McConkey, and then he kind of quieted down.
And Quentin
Hampton's,
Johnston had a pretty good year this past year, but
but he hasn't taken that step to where, hey,
hmm
we need a like. And then Omari and Hampton's the same thing, and then it's the same thing with the offensive line. I mean, like you said, it's tough to move guys across the board when you draft a guy like Jake Slaughter. Like, how is he going to immediately fit in that guard? It's kind of like,
yeah,
um, I think like Baltimore's plans of like bringing, they drafted. I know I'm getting a little off topic, but you're drafting Vega Ione, but then it's like, who do you like? You're taking a guy like Emory Jones Jr. and you're placing him in this position. You
right.
you think it's going to go well, but again, it's like I know this from experience because as a Packers fan, because Elton Jenkins was a big
Mm-hmm.
one where he was a phenomenal guard. He's Pro Bowl guard this past season. He was not a very good center. He tried to play center. He was not very good, but it could be the same thing with going inside. So I
I
again
mean,
and again as you said it, it's there's some people where it's like they have the flexibility to move across all five spots on the offensive line. Jake Slaughter has never done that before, so it is
mhm.
definitely a risk.
And he's undersized if he does play guard. Not only weight wise, but height wise as well. He is that prototypical center build, and so I don't know if they're planning on moving him around. I mean, and even so, if they are, him and Cole Strange is not a really good. It's not a great duo of interior
Yes.
guards. So it's another just situation of I don't necessarily want to call it mismanagement or not allocating your resources correctly with your money, but you just had the ability to not only go for those top guards, but you could also outbid other teams.
Yes.
So just interesting to me. Um, but yeah, I like your little breakdown of it. But
Oh,
talking
thank you so
about
much.
talking about outbidding players, I have the Raiders next.
Oh boy.
I think
Oh
that's a fun
boy.
little transition. Um, Raiders are fun because obviously the Raiders had, I believe, the second most money behind the Titans this past year, and they used it.
Yeah.
They used it. I think the biggest one, and everybody's kind of talked about this separately, but it's Tyler Linderbaum, center from the Ravens, 3 years, 81 million. I mean, average of 27. Creed Humphreys the next paid, he's getting paid. Was it 19 million, 18 million?
Yes. Yeah. 18 million.
So obviously, you completely reset the center market, which you desperately need if you're the Raiders because your offensive line was horrendous last year. Not only in the pass game, but did you know that the Raiders had the least amount of rushing touchdowns last year?
I would not be surprised. You could
They had
tell me that. I
five.
know not. Oh my god!
They
Why?
had five
That's insane. That's really bad. I was not expecting that.
with one of the best like rookie running backs ever as well
Yeah.
in Ashton Genty. So your top priority is fixing that defensive line, but or fixing the offensive line. But even before that, I think their two biggest moves they made was bringing Clint Kubiak and keeping Max Crosby.
Yeah.
I think there's a situation with Max Crosby where because you did trade him, you were or I guess quote unquote trade because you did bring him back. That did lead you to overpay a little bit trying to get his replacement on the defensive line. Looking at Quiddy Pay as well as even
Oof.
re-signing someone like Malcolm Kuntz down there. Um, but yeah, I'm not upset. I mean, you can never have too many pass rushers. Um, but I think the ones that I do like the most is that Nakobe Dean, um,
Quay
Quay
Walker.
Walker. Yeah, Nakobe
Yes.
Dean, Quay Walker duo at linebacker now. Yes, you're allocating a combined 3 years, 76 million, 78 million to
Yeah.
them. But those are two people that you desperately need linebackers. You can't
Two
run out
guys that
there
know each other too.
exactly played Georgia together. You can't be running out there with Devin White and Jamal Adams anymore. This is a real NFL team that
Maybe
needs
like
real
5 years
NFL players.
ago, that would be like the best linebacking core in the league, but
That's an
not
all-pro
anymore.
linebacker
Yeah.
duo right now. But so you go and you get the two top five linebackers that are on the market. Great, love it. You go and get the best center. You're able to have allocate that money to outbid anyone else. You want Tyler Linderbaum? Awesome. I know the Chargers were upset about that. Then you go and you just try to get help to as many as to your rookie quarterback as possible. Jalen Naylor.
Yeah.
You bring in, a mentor in Kirk Cousins. It's a lot of money. 2 years. We've talked about it. It's such a
Yes.
weird contract, but you bring in a guy that is there to not necessarily force Fernando Mendoza to start day one. Um, but after that, they don't do a whole lot after some of those bigger names.
Hmm.
Which I'm a little surprised, especially that offensive line, which we'll talk about. But before I get to that, their draft, not upset by it. Obviously, everybody knows first overall pick Fernando Mendoza, fantastic. Round two, trading Stukes. corner, safety slot, nickel, Arizona. Really athletic player. It's going to be interesting to see how they play with him, even when they had to go and trade for Teron Johnson. So it's going to be interesting
Yes.
to see if Traydon Stukes plays that slot instead of Teron, or if he's more in that back end safety role. After that, I was not the biggest fan of getting Kayron Crawford defensive end round
Hmm.
three. Just I know I said you can't have enough defensive ends and D line, but there's some other big positions of need, including wide receiver, including interior offensive line. Um, so spending another pick on a rotational edge rusher is not my favorite. I do like their other third round pick, Trey Zone from I believe it was Texas A&M.
Yep.
Um, he is a big physical mauler in that run game. He can come in and play both that interior and exterior, both guard and tackle, depending. I know their kind of offensive line situation is interesting. Tyler Linderbaum is going to be your solidified starter at center. Corner Miller's going to be your left guard, and then the rest, it's kind of
You mean
interesting.
tackle? Yeah, you mean tackle?
Yeah, sorry, left tackle. DJ Glaze is a player that could potentially start. Jackson Powers Johnson if he plays guard, or if he just requests a trade. Trezun, there's a lot of people. Charles Rogers as well. There's a lot of players that can play any one of those positions.
Yes.
Fourth round pick. I love their fourth round picks. Gerard McCoy. If Gerard McCoy is able to rehab this injury and come back to even 50% of the player that he was with Tennessee 2 years ago, this is an A+ steal in the fourth round.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about degenerative knee issues, but he's out there practicing right now in training camp. But if he is able to practice, fantastic, best pick in the draft. And then the other fourth round pick, Mike Washington, running back. This is a player that dominated the combine. He's going to be a perfect little like 1-2 punch with Ashton Genty. Um, Mike Washington is that little bit faster. He is a little more athletic than Genty, as well as a little bit of a better pass catcher. I love those picks. Um, Now, I feel like we don't say this enough with some of these teams, but you can only have good players and good picks and good free agent signings if they fit your system. And I think this is perfect for this team. You go and get Clint Kubiak, who should work perfectly with a rookie Fernando Mendoza. The Seahawks last year did two things better than anyone else. They ran the ball the most, and they had the most efficient passing game, which kind of seem
Yeah.
indifferent from each other, but they're able to run the most last year, which works perfect for a rookie quarterback, perfect with a player like Ashton Genty, and those that efficient run game led to the most prolific passing attack in last year's season. So I do think Clint Kubiak is going to be able to come in and run a system that's very friendly with Mendoza, a lot of RPOs, a lot of attention to that run game, and allow Mendoza to flourish as a day one rookie.
Yeah, you spoke a
Yeah,
lot, and
I know that was a lot.
no, it's the way it is with the Raiders.
Mhm.
The way I think about it is two things. Is one, this team is gonna be better than they were last
Yeah.
year. I mean, the last year's Raiders were horrible. I couldn't watch their games.
Hmm.
I really like some of the moves. I really like the two linebackers. It worked really well for Chicago. And they're really good complements to each other. Quay Walker
Yep.
is definitely a more physical blitzing guy. N'Kobe Dean, not
Is
as
more in that
athletic,
pass
but
coverage.
pass coverage. Um, I've expressed how much I love Linderbaum because
Hmm.
not only is he one of the best centers in the league, but also it's really good to have a very good center with a young rookie quarterback, a guy who can be a leader on that offensive line, help you make calls, help you understand defenses and blocking schemes to help
Yeah.
Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, offensive line is definitely going to be interesting. I think again, I think Linderbaum's going to make that a lot better, but they do have some. I think they have some players they can move around in
Hmm.
different positions. Um, I like the Jalen Naylor signing as a wide receiver 3. The receiving room really interesting. They need a
Yeah.
guy to step up. People forget too. they drafted two guys last year, I think second and third or fourth round.
Yep.
Dante Thornton,
Jack Betch.
and Jack Besh really didn't do much. Thornton's
Mm-hmm.
much more of the deep threat. Jack Besh,
More of that
Trey
slot.
Tucker, I think could have like Trey Tucker has been very underrated. I think he could be great, but you
Mm-hmm.
need one of those guys step up. You have guys in the room, a lot of young players on that offense. This is a young, potentially potentially very efficient, explosive offense. Especially, I love the Mike Washington pick. Defensively is interesting. Max
Mm-hmm.
Crosby, you have your leader, right? That's your pro. The con is you don't have two extra first round picks, which kind of stinks. And you also keep that contract. But yeah, as you said, I think their defensive line is mixed feelings. I
Uh,
think they're
especially without a top tier
yes.
interior defensive tackle to even stop the run.
I think Kubiak was in the process of saying, listen, this is how Seattle won. They had 4 or 5 guys off the edge that you could win with,
Yep.
right? And they want that. So
Mm-hmm.
I get why they dipped into a lot of different guys and bring in guys. As much as you and I have talked about how much we hate the Kwity Paye signing, there's just a lot of money. He is definitely more the run stuffer of the group. Another one I like what they've done with their secondary. Like, their secondary
Mm-hmm.
was pretty rough. But bringing back Eric Stokes, who had his career best
Fantastic.
year, which sucks because really wanted him to do
Former
well with
Packer.
Green Bay.
Yep.
Bringing him back as a guy who you saw could play, bring in Teron Johnson. You said Trey Sukes. So overall, I think this team got better across the board. I think the obvious question is we need to see some life. We need to see some
Mm-hmm.
life. The best way I could describe the Raiders last year was just lifeless. They
Yeah.
didn't have any life to them. They had nothing to look forward to. You now have a lot to look forward to. And it's not going to, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't. But I think you need to see some life from specifically certain players
Mm-hmm.
across the board and saying these are the guys you could build around. Also, yeah, as you said, if Jermon McCoy plays, he could by far be the steal of the draft. It is really crazy to me how far he fell. Because we had him mocked, I think, like early first round, but
Yeah.
injuries, they're the major concern. So I just want to see some life from this team. And I think with their offseason moves, they 100% have the potential to do it.
No, 100%. I think the biggest question mark going into this year is someone like Fernando Mendoza able to excel his progression with maybe a lack of wide receivers? Um, as you saw with Indiana, he had two receivers get drafted: Omar Cooper in the first round, Elijah Surratt, I believe, in the fifth. Um, which for a championship team, perfect season. That's not necessarily like extremely surprising, but there's not. I don't. I almost would take Omar Cooper over any of the current Raiders wide receivers. That includes
Yes.
Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Jack Betch, Donta Thornton, any one of them. So if Clint Kubiak is really able to get the most out of Mendoza, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into a run-heavy RPO system offense, which will
It's
fit
what he,
perfect with what Mendoza has been doing with Indiana.
and you have that run game to lean behind on too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is interesting because there were some Indiana guys that they could have taken. They didn't
Yeah,
take anyone, not even Surratt, who was like taken in the fourth. So
yeah. So
interesting.
I guess it's going to be interesting to see what type of connection Mendoza and someone like Brock Bowers is going to have, because Mendoza's never had a top tight end target, and you have the I don't want to say, well, you could say the best tight end or top three tight end in Brock Bowers. So kind of see that connection, something to kind of watch throughout the season as well.
Yeah, yeah. Brock Bowers is definitely the big one there. But with that being said, Josh, we have
One more
our
team.
final team, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of moves
Yep.
all across the board. Yeah, I'm very mixed. I'm not really sure what to think. I mean, the Chiefs definitely one of the most disappointing teams.
Yeah.
in this past season, Mahomes, but their off seasons did not start very well, or
Hmm.
you could call it mixed. Talk about some of their key losses, especially on the defensive side. You basically lose both your starting corners in Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. You did get a first round pick from McDuffie. You get rid of that contract. The Chiefs are always just churning through corners.
Yeah, they are.
But I'm a big fan of McDuffie. I think he's a fantastic player. I'm surprised he didn't at least retain one of those guys
Hmm.
just to kind of have some anchor in the defensive back room and not so much turnover. Considering both of them are really solid players, but you move them to a rival or kind of a more Super Bowl rival in the Rams.
Hmm.
Also lose your starting safety um,
Brian Cook.
and Brian Cook. You lose Brian Cook, so you're losing basically three of your main secondary guys. I almost said Alohi Gilman. I have no idea why. I almost did. I swear to God, but he went there. I think I mixed it up
Yep.
because he actually went there. And thanks for saving me with that. But
I
yeah, it was
gotcha.
Brian Cook, and you lose him to another AFC contender. You also lose Leo Chenal, who was a
That's a big
really good
one.
rotational linebacker for them. You cut your starting right tackle in Juwan Taylor. I know Chiefs fans are singing hallelujah to that one. You basically scrap your entire running back room. So you
Marquise
have
Brown as well.
Marquise Brown losing one of your
Don't retain
rotational
him.
wide receivers. So you're scrapping a lot. You're moving off of a lot of players in certain positions. But then free agency came. Start with the big one. Kenneth Walker, 3 years, 43.05 million. Yeah, this is the best
Yeah.
running back the Chiefs have had in a while. Uh, it's a
Since
lot.
rookie year Kareem Hunt,
Yeah, for real.
2017 Kareem.
For real. This is definitely the most promising prospect. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Kenneth Walker, shifty, really athletic, not necessarily a bruising back, but man, he can make some moves. He's an explosive hole hitter. Uh, I'm a little question. I think a lot of people look at his playoff run and say, yeah, this is the guy. But he's coming into now basically being that official running back one and not just a major compliment towards Charbonnet and, being kind of that lead back. So I think he's going to have a little more to prove in the tank if he really deserves his contract. But again, the Chiefs last year, I talked about it so much. Their run game was awful, and it did not
Hmm.
help their offense at all. Kenneth Walker is a major, major upgrade. Bring back Travis Kelsey too. Again, as much as he's declined in his declining years, he's still putting up productive seasons. The guy I mixed up with Alohi Gilman.
Hmm.
He's a pretty underrated safety in the league. Bounced around, got
The
traded to
Ravens.
Baltimore. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Traded to Baltimore, getting him on a 3-year, $24 million deal, cheaper than Brian Cook. Still has some production. Again, replacing that safety spot. Can't really be mad at that. Although it's a solid signing. It's not a great
Yeah.
signing, but it's a solid. He's a solid starter. Same thing with this guy, Cyrus Tonga, from the Patriots. 3 years, $21 million. Bringing in defensive tackles. This defensive line is the biggest common area throughout this.
It's it's the exact opposite of the Raiders, if you think about
Yes.
it.
Yeah, this one was interesting. I mean, you have Chris Jones, but Chris Jones is definitely getting older. I don't know how much
Hmm.
left he has in the tank. They drafted a defensive tackle last year in Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee, who's much more of a pass rushing defensive tackle.
As well as
Uh,
as an older prospect.
yeah, older prospect. Kyrus Tonga, that much more of a run stuffing defensive tackle, really under the radar piece of that Patriots defense, who improved a lot. So
Hmm.
again, you can never have too many defensive linemen. You get him on a really solid 7 million APY deal. A couple other ones, bring in corner depth with Cater Kohu. Bring back a guy I actually kind of liked in his role last year in Tyquan Thornton.
Yep.
He definitely had a lot more production than I expected him, considering how much of a bust he was for New England. But again, they still had a lot of holes on that roster, a lot left to kind of fix um, on that team. And their free agency, I think, was good, but it wasn't great. But then the draft comes, right? You have 2 first-round picks. What are you going to do? First pick, 6 overall. You trade up, give away a third-round pick, and you get Mansour Lane. A lot of people probably said, yeah, I'd seen this coming. I did not. I got to be honest with you, because they don't draft corners this high. They really don't.
No. Yeah.
They always kind of get the late round gem steals. Mansour Lane, best corner in the draft. As bad as that secondary was, you basically now have a new corner 1 in the room. I can't be mad at that. I don't like the trade up for him. They gave up a third-round pick, which I was not the biggest fan of. I feel like if they really had to, they could have still gotten him at 9.
I think they were mostly nervous about the New Orleans Saints grabbing him instead of Tyson.
Yeah, so but third-round pick was a little rich, so I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But again, the state of their corner room, you get the best guy available. Mansour Lane is a fantastic shutdown corner who, in a Spags run defense, could be really, really good. I got a little like wheeze going on, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to like talk. Next pick, Peter Woods. A little surprised with this one, but it makes sense. We talked about building up this defensive line. You basically have 3 new defensive tackles in your ropes. We like Peter Woods. He was basically going to be a top 5 pick. Had a little less production at Clemson, but was that because of how much he was double teamed, or was it a dip or decline? He's definitely not going to get that chance to be double teamed nearly as much with how much they've invested in this defensive line. But he's a really freakish, athletic defensive tackle with run stuffing and pass rush upside. I think he could be a really good player, and this is a great system for him to fit in a defensive tackle rotational team, and just beef up that pass rush. I think the Chiefs have been really trying to do that, and they have been just okay for the most part. They hit on Karlaftis to an extent. He's a solid rotational guy, although the contract isn't looking great. Felix Nduke Uzama, if you even know who that is, hasn't really done anything.
I mean, and they cut Mike Dana from starting right in from last year. So
and Chris Jones again getting old, and he plays all over that defensive line. One that I liked was their 2nd round pick in Mason Thomas. This is a completely different guy from all the other guys that they have. Their defensive line is big, big dudes. I mean, again, the guys I talked about, Cyrus Tonga, Peter Woods, Omar Norman Locke, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. Mason Thomas is the outlier of the bunch, and I like it because you're getting some diversity in your pass rush and edge group. He's only 240 pounds at 6'2", but he is ridiculously fast. Freak athlete. Really good get off. I think this is a really good complement to the pass rushing systems that they have. And you look at this defensive line, it has the potential to be really, really good because they have so many productive bodies that they can Spags is going to have a field day just moving around guys across the board. I think it's going to be really, really fun. Because of the trade, they didn't have a 3rd round pick. I basically got 2 more, or I kind of 3 more guys I'd want to talk about.
Yeah.
They draft Jaden Kennedy, safety out of Oregon, with their 4th round pick. Again, this seems like a classic Chiefs pick, getting a defensive back in the late rounds who will probably earn a massive contract soon.
Probably be traded for 5th year will be traded probably.
Yeah, well, but getting some extra safety depth, possibly. If Spags really loves him, a new starter. I'm surprised they didn't go with more corner depth, but I guess they feel kind of good with what they're doing. Another one I really liked, Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. I mean, him alongside Kenneth Walker, it's going to be really, really fun. Yeah. Not really a compliment, but almost like they're kind of bunched together in a sense. I'd say he's a little more undersized, but man, he's fun athlete, moves really well, good pass catcher. So him with Kenneth Walker could be a really fun running back tandem. And then the final one, and honestly, really good pick. Just maybe not the right team to pick him was Garrett Nussmeier falling
Yeah.
to the 7th round. Um, again, I'm not really sure what the Chiefs are going to do. I know Patrick Mahomes coming off an ACL tear, but they said he might be ready for camp.
And they
This
have
guy,
Justin Fields as well.
yeah, and well, we can kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, they did trade for Justin Fields for backup quarterback. How you want to make that to be? I think Nussmeier could step in at that backup quarterback. This really seems like I don't know. It seems like a really good pick. I'm surprised he fell this low, but getting a good young rookie backup at this value is fantastic value for him. So I like the draft. I like what they did. They bolstered up their pass rush.
Yeah.
They got a solid prime corner one, and then depth across the board. Again, I think the Chiefs' expectations is you're going to have to go out and do a lot better than you did last year. I have questions about this offense. We were talking about it earlier. And we talked about it with a lot of teams is what receiver is going to step up? What you have a ton of guys that have all the potential in the world. You spent a lot of capital on them. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton. You drafted a guy in the 5th round, Cyrus Allen. Which one of those guys is going to step up? Because Travis Kelce is not at the stage of his career where he's going to step up and be a first-team All-Pro. In Mahomes, you saw how much he struggled last year because his weapons just did not work for him. It's the same thing with the offensive line, too. I could say the same thing about the offensive line. They lose Jawan Taylor. They didn't really acquire a lot of guys in the offseason, if any, to replace them. So they're expecting some of their new guys to come up and make some big changes. And same thing with this defense. This division has a lot of good quarterbacks and some pretty solid, groups of receivers. I wouldn't say amazing, but this Chiefs secondary is completely overhauled. And in a division with a lot of good, or in a division with a lot of good quarterbacks, how is that going to fare? Especially with you're expecting a lot of guys step up. And again, I think it's a little bit like the Raiders, but it's not. But the Chiefs are different because this is a team that's wanting to contend. This is a team that has to contend. And you're bringing in a ton of new faces. You have a ton of turnover. How fast is that turnover going to go and be a productive team for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
No, 100%. And I think there's a lot of question marks. Like, while you're able to draft some really good players, there's also a lot of question marks. I think from top to bottom, I mean, is Mahomes going to be not only the day one starter, but is he going to be healthy enough to be able to survive beginning the season to stay afloat? I think that's the number one question. If he's not, then there's a true quarterback battle between Justin Fields or Garrett Nussmeier.
Yes.
Running backs. Kenneth Walker hasn't been the running back one his entire career. He's had Zach Charbonnet. He's had Chris Carson beginning of his career. That's a throwback name. So where exactly? I love that guy, and Rashawn Penny as well. So I guess the big question is, can Kenneth Walker not only be what he's shown in that playoff run, but also be able to be that second to third pass catcher that this offense needs? Wide receivers. Rashee Rice, when he stays on the field, we've seen what he can do. Xavier Worthy still has not been. He's been just disappointing his whole career.
Yes,
he's fast, but he hasn't shown any extreme game speed, as well as not being able to stay healthy. Behind them, you have Tyquan Thornton, who is a former practice squad player. Jalen Royals, you drafted 2 years ago to potentially play one of those positions. And then your offensive line. You have big questions if Trey Smith can finally stay healthy throughout a whole season. You cut Jawan Taylor. You have Jalen Moore, who you signed 2 seasons ago to take over at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But you have question marks. Josh Simmons, can he play a full season? Defensively, I guess you're going to expect Chris Jones to be at that all-pro level, both interior and on the defensive end, because you have Peter Woods. They also run a lot of three linebacker sets, and you lose Leo Chanel. So now you're missing a linebacker. Do you run more nickel dime? But then if you
Yeah.
do that, then you have less corners and less secondary players. Um, Master Delane, Kador, Alani Gilman, and the other two starters are Jalen Hicks or Jamari Connor, and then your other corner is either Noel Williams, last year's
Third round pick. Yeah.
third round pick, or Christian Fulton.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of missing pieces on this team, and I don't know, especially if Mahomes is still injured the first 2 months, if this team can stay afloat in such a competitive division.
Well, yeah. I mean, you saw it last year when you kind of saw. I think the Chiefs were a
Mm-hmm.
little cocky, and then their flaws really started to get exposed. Um, and it's kind of they're doing the same thing, but they're also saying, "Listen, we're going to add some new talent." But I mean, this team has so much turnover, a lot more than you actually think it does. And I think the reason that people have ignored it is that for a while, just guys step up and play.
Yeah.
I mean, the secondary is the perfect example for that. Or you just have one guy who just does everything. This team has a good amount of really good players, but again, Travis Kelsey, Chris Jones are not going to be there for that long. They'll probably retire very soon, so you have to find replacements. And again, I think again it starts in the trenches. It starts with I think offensive line is definitely a concern. I
Mm-hmm.
think they really address the defensive line side of it, which I really like because the league is not you just have four designated pass rush guys. You have eight. You basically have like eight guys that you're rotating in and out throughout every single play to be as healthy as possible. But you're right. There's still a lot of holes. Corner, who's going to step up? I do like Jamari Connor and some of those guys, but um, who is going to step up? Mansour, you have Mansour Delane, right? He's still a rookie. Is he going to be that elite level corner off the bat that you need? Noel Williams right behind him. Are you going to really have Cater Kohu being your starting corner? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
So I think the Chiefs definitely got a lot better in places, and their potential in certain places that are lacking are really improved. But can they put the pieces together and be back to where they? Is this like when the Rams won the Super Bowl and came back and were really bad, and then they said, "Listen, we're going to get back on our feet and immediately play good again," or is this the decline of the dynasty? You know, is this the
Yeah.
Warriors? Is this the Warriors'
The
decline?
Warriors. Um, and as well as obviously we're going through these teams, but free agency isn't technically over. And I do think a team like the Chiefs could definitely benefit from adding another pass catcher. I wouldn't be surprised, and you and I, James, talked about this prior to the
Yeah,
podcast, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a team that's been really tuning into the Stephon Diggs situation. I think Stephon Diggs, while he's not nearly the player he was with Buffalo, he's still been 1,000-yard receiver, still produced everywhere he's been, as well as he was the number one receiver for a team that made it to the Super Bowl last year.
yeah,
So, and I mean, the Chiefs have done this. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins last year or 2 years ago. So this is definitely a team that has shown that they know their weaknesses, especially their wide receiver room, and have brought in guys, veterans, practice squad. That's what Tyquan Thornton was to bolster that room. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make more moves to do things like that.
yeah. I agree. I think you look back at that Stephon Diggs contract. Doesn't look very great in hindsight,
Hmm.
but yeah. What is their direction? I think is
100%.
kind of what we're going for. They do like to sign veterans at certain positions, but we're kind of noticing they're getting a little younger. Some of their guys are having some turnover. So, but yeah, Josh, interesting
Well,
division.
yeah, James, we got our weekly questions of which team most improved, which team do you believe is going to be the division winner, which team are you most disappointed about? Was there another one?
No,
It
it's
was
it's four
most
questions.
improved.
Most improved, least improved, uh,
Okay,
like the team that's going to be the best team and the team that's going to be the worst team in the division.
gotcha. All right,
Why don't you start with
all
this
right.
one? Because I started the
Um,
last one.
we might have very similar teams.
Yeah.
I think the one that was most disappointing for me is by far the Chargers. We talked about having the third most cap room, and you make very minimal moves to really bolster the positions that you need. That includes linebacker, secondary, offensive line. I think those are the most disappointing. So to me, the Chargers, they had so much potential with money, and there's a lot of moves that I would have done differently. Team that I believe is going to win the division, I do still think it's going to be the Broncos. I think out of all these teams, I do think the Broncos might have even made the least amount of moves, but might have upgraded the most with what they already had, bringing in a player like Jalen Waddle, and not losing that much players. I do think the biggest question mark is Bo Nix's injury history,
Yep.
and if he's going to be able to still be as mobile as he was, and that whole situation. Team to me that was the biggest improve, um, right? Wasn't that one most
Yeah.
improved?
Yep.
I think I mean I don't say it can't go the Raiders. They went from such a dire situation last year, from coaching quarterback to they had Jamal Adams and Devin Lloyd. All right, my fault. Devin White for
Devin
the two
Lloyd.
starting
Yeah.
middle linebackers.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you can't say they're most improved. Um, I still do think that they are also probably going to be last in their division, strictly because it's so hard to improve that much in 1 year, especially with a rookie quarterback, rookie first time head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of the same thing as it was last week. We were kind of
Hmm.
similar. Uh, I guess I'll go. I think my most improved team is definitely the Raiders. I think it's not only just because how bad they were last year. Um, like I said, this team was so lifeless, and they have hope. You have a
Hmm.
franchise quarterback. Hopefully, you basically improved in all spots of your team for the most part, and you get a really good head coach with a great offensive mind to change the worst offense in football last year. Um,
Man, that Chip Kelly contract is looking worse every day.
yes, I'm sorry, Raiders fans. I'm sorry about that.
Highest paid offensive coordinator, and you get fired in 1 year.
Like in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Um, least improved. Yeah, I'd probably say the Chargers. I
Hmm.
think that I think they did make some improvements. Interior offensive line, you do some overall, but you still have some room left, right? I like the Key Mesidor pick, but I mean, considering their opportunity to improve even more, and the fact that this team has some holes, right, and
Yeah.
has some concerns, and they didn't really address it. Because in my honest opinion, I think this division for the most part all improved. I don't think a lot of them like got worse.
Hmm.
Um, I'd probably say the Chiefs maybe got a little worse, but they made so many moves they got better too. But I think out of all the teams, I think the Chargers just left a lot more room to be desired compared to other teams. Um, division winner, you said it. I'm going to say the Broncos. I just think this team is really well coached, and I think that out of all the other teams, they have the least amount of holes. There's overall group of guys is rock solid across the board. Really can't think of one position group that they have where I say, oh man, that's going to be a major liability for them in the
No.
future. I could have said receiver, but they just got Jalen Waddle. And it would probably be tight end if anything, but
Hmm.
or running back, but they did add to that.
To both positions. Yeah.
And then last place, I really yeah, I think there's a chance the Chiefs are. I think
Yeah.
there's a chance. Yes, they made a lot of moves, but again, this division got a lot better. They really struggled last year, and if Patrick Mahomes is out for the first month, are they going to be able to pick up the slack? But I think it's going to be the Raiders. I think this team just still has so much left to go. Usually, rookie quarterbacks on their first year of their team, not the best.
Hmm.
Um, you still are going to go through a lot of growing pains. I think there's still some holes on this roster that need to be filled out. I just say, listen, I think they could be a surprise and win a decent amount of games, but I guess for Raiders fans out there, it takes time. You don't want to rush it because teams that rush it usually fail in very bad ways. So yeah, that's my that's my two
No,
cents on the whole thing.
no, 100%. I agree with you, and I think we could definitely see a situation where, very similar to what the AFC North has been for years, where you have two, even three teams that are, you know, almost all three are 10-win plus, and it kind of just goes to show the competitiveness. I do think that each of these teams have improved different positions. I do think there's going to be some really good and incredible games just in the division with all four of these.
Yeah.
Could definitely see different types of upsets from the Raiders being the Broncos and vice versa, and all these different situations.
Yes, absolutely. Um, it's gonna be a fun. It's always a really competitive
Yeah.
division. Um, but I like where your head's at. But Josh, that concludes
Yeah.
part two of grades. We've done both the West teams, and now I have a little game to
All
end the
right.
night.
Yeah. We got time.
Yeah, I set up a couple of these for us. So
Oh,
I
is
know
this
I did
the?
one. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I know
I
I
don't
did
have a
one.
piece of paper, but
It's
I'm gonna
fine.
pull
It's
out a
fine. You
notes
can you
app.
can you can be good.
Gosh, I
Okay,
hate these.
okay. This is gonna be a good one. Ready for this?
Uh huh.
So I'm gonna give you five random free agent signings from probably past 10 to 20 years. You're not gonna
10 to
know who's next,
20.
but you're gonna rank them based off of their performance and their contract. You
Okay.
ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First one I'm gonna give you is the most recent one on the list. That is Cameron Bynum going from the Minnesota Vikings to the Indianapolis Colts for 4 years, $60 million.
Man, he played so well, especially beginning of the year this
And the
year. He
touchdown sallies.
and you got to bring the touch on Sally's. I mean, there's different ways to think about this. Not only was he a above average starter, he at times this year led the league in interceptions. Um, also was believe top 10 in tackles. Um, I'm gonna put injured by him. I think he's a perfect three.
Perfect three. You think? Okay, Cameron Bynum at three. I like that.
I
I
think
actually I think that was a really unsung, underrated signing this
I
offseason.
think so too.
All right, I like where your head's at. Okay,
Okay.
up next is one that I know very well. In 2020, the Giants signed former Green Bay Packer middle linebacker Blake Martinez to a 3-year, $31 million contract, and then he lasted. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that right now.
Yeah, I think he lasted just that year. I'm putting Blake Martinez at 4. I mean,
He actually lasted a year and 3 games, and then
not
he went to play Pokemon.
oh no, not just play Pokemon, but scam people
Yes, scam
at Pokemon
Pokemon.
cards. That's a big thing. I'm gonna put Blake Martinez at 4. I do think he was productive for that first year. Um, he's a tackling machine. I do think you could throw me some player that was just absolutely terrible. So I'm gonna put Blake Martinez at 4. Leave my 1, 2, and 5 open.
Okay, all right. I like where your head's at because the next signing is another kind of recent one, but really really good one.
Uh huh.
That is the Chicago Bears signing former Tennessee Titan offensive guard Nate Davis to a 3-year, $30 million contract.
Nate Davis.
Do you remember this one?
Yep. It's so hard, especially with interior offensive line. You rarely hear about them whenever they switch teams.
Yes.
And I remember Nate Davis playing for the Titans. He wore, I think he wore 60,
64.
64. Yeah.
64.
Um, I'm gonna put my 2.
Really? Wow. Really?
It's really,
Really?
yeah.
Dude. Oh, okay. Okay.
Now
Okay.
you're making me change my mind. But
Like,
here's the thing. Go. I'll let you go ahead.
Do you like know like his like career with Chicago?
I'm sure it was terrible.
All right, well, he played 11 games and then he played 2 games and then was cut and has never been on a team since.
All right, I'm putting him at 5.
I was gonna say I think that's the right
I'm
move
gonna
because he was
put him at 5.
he got benched. He was terrible.
See,
Bears fans hate him.
I only remember him as a tight end.
Yeah, this was a really bad signing for the Bears. He was really bad. He got basically got benched and just never
Gotcha.
played.
Gotcha. I only remember him as a
Yeah.
tight end. Okay, so I have pick 1 and pick 2 left.
Okay. The next one I have is another one that is near and dear to my heart. It kind of broke my heart a little bit. That is the Minnesota Vikings snatching Green Bay pass rushers and Darius Smith.
Oh,
3 years, $42 million.
man, Zadarius. This is difficult. Dude, I hate these because they are all. There's not like a clear number 1 so far.
This one is interesting. I'm
It's
not going to
interesting.
say anything about it. I'm not going to say
It's the
anything
back
about
end
it.
of his career.
He was 30. He was 30 when he signed.
Yep. Now, I'm trying to remember. Was this before or after the video of him getting pulled over
I'm
with
not going to tell. I'm
marijuana?
not.
Do you remember that?
I don't. I actually don't remember that, but that's crazy.
He might have still been in the Packers at this point, but he got pulled over, and the cops oh, ID and stuff. He goes, "Oh, I'm Zadarius Smith. I'm coming back from Green Bay right now."
Oh, yeah, it's probably
Crazy.
I don't
I
know.
want to put Zadarius Smith at 2.
Okay. Yeah. This was an interesting one because he only played 1 season there,
Mm-hmm.
but he did in that season make a Pro Bowl and an All Pro.
Yeah.
So he did play really well. But then he went to Cleveland and he went around the league for a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
That leaves me at number 1 spot.
Darius Smith at 2, Cameron Bynum at 3,
Blake Martinez at 4, Nate Davis at 5.
The last one I have for you is one that oh man, I don't know. This guy, it's very hard to find a lot about him.
Oh, great.
You said this is the Raiders signing former Cleveland Browns corner Travis Carey. Travis Carey.
Great. I'm
for
so glad you
a
made me do that.
4-year, $31 million deal.
That's a ton of money.
Yes.
What year was this? 20.
Um,
What? It gives you 2013?
yes. He's not coming up. Yeah, it's
That's-
really hard to find. It's really
Yeah.
this one. Yeah, 4 years, $31 million to the
That's-
Raiders, and you put him at number 1.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think you should have put Bynum. I think
Bynum at
Bynum
1
was
probably.
1. I'm surprised you put him. I think you had the expectations you were going to get some different.
Yeah,
guys,
because remember the first time we played this game, I had great players. Second
Yes.
time, Eric Decker was my best player. So I was like, okay, Cam Bynum is a decent player, decent starter right now. I'm gonna put him at 3, see where it goes from now. That's hard. All right, James, I'm thinking of a player. I'm gonna show the screen. I'm not gonna show you. I'm gonna have you close your eyes, but
Okay, well,
all
right.
we will play
Yes.
one more game. Do you have
Okay.
any perimeters you want me to do? Any boundaries you want me to do? Give me a year base or team, or what do you want to do?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Post 2000.
Post.
You want me to do something like that?
Player, like a player.
A player.
Maybe not post or.
You give me
yeah.
perimeter.
Yeah, do post. I don't know because I feel like post 2000 there could be a lot of guys I don't know. Let's do let's start with a post 2010. Post 2010.
Okay. Give me 1 second because I am.
Yeah, do you ever play? You got to play Sporkle, man.
Dude,
See,
Sporkle's
that's the
fun.
thing with That's the thing with like trying to get ball knowledge is you have to like play the games
Hmm.
for people out there. If you need the ball knowledge, you have to play Immaculate Grid is number one, right?
Yep.
You have to play Immaculate Grid.
NFL Connections is good.
NFL Connections, but it's kind of easy for the most part. And then Sporkle. Sporkle has
Sporkle's up there.
great ones.
All right,
That's my
James.
recommendation.
I'm gonna need you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Eyes are closed.
Sure.
All right. Here is the player that James will be guessing. All right. All you.
Wait.
What?
Oh, so wait, do I have to like ask for questions?
Sure. You can ask questions, whatever you want to do.
So post 2010.
Post
Do I have like a
2010.
limited amount of questions I have to ask, or is there like
I say just until you get it. Unless you're like really struggling, I can start giving you hints.
Okay. AFC or NFC?
Both. Started career AFC. Currently NFC.
Is he still in the league?
Yes.
He's still in the league.
Still in the league.
Started with AFC, went to NFC. Is he on offense or defense?
Offense.
Started AFC, went to the NFC. Offense. So this guy's like old. Is this guy past 30?
Yes.
Okay, so he's an older offensive player.
Trying to find his exact age. Won't give it to me, but he is, yes, over 30. He is
over 30.
Yeah, over 30.
Okay. Ooh, dang. Started the AFC. Then went to the NFC. He's offense, right?
He is an offensive player.
Has he ever been a Pro Bowler?
He has never been a Pro Bowler.
Oh, dang, that makes it totally different.
Yes, but you will know him.
Okay. Is he starting the AFC? Is he skill position? Like receiver, tight end, running back?
He is not any of those that you listed.
Oh, so he's a quarterback or a lineman? Started with but he's still in the league.
Still in the league.
Still in the league. Jesus, you're busting my balls here. I'm trying not to ask like too many questions because then it just doesn't get fun.
I would narrow it down to either team or position first.
Okay. Position. Was he a lineman? Is he a lineman?
Not a lineman.
Oh, so he's a quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
So, wait, is this? I'm gonna just throw out again. Is this Tyrod Taylor?
No, but similar career.
Josh Johnson?
Nope, further away. More starter based.
Okay. But he started in the AFC.
Started his career in the AFC, started some games in the AFC, but is most notable for his starts in the NFC.
Most notable for his starts in the NFC. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Jacoby Brissett?
Not Jacoby Brissett, but also very, very, very close.
Very close. So it's not Carson. Oh. So most notable for the NFC starting games.
Jacoby Brissett is probably the best guess.
Is it Darnold?
No, further away.
No, further away. Oh, so he's
not a current starter.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm trying to go like by division.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Josh Jobs?
No, but close as well. You want me to give you division?
I feel like that. Wait, hold on. Oh, is it Oh yeah. Is it Andy Dalton? Is it Andy Dalton?
Not Andy Dalton.
No.
Andy Dalton's most known for the AFC.
Yeah, I know. And then I found out it's just
All right, I'm gonna give you another hint.
Okay.
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
He's two-timer. It's not Blaine. It's not Blaine Gabbert, is it?
Not Blaine Gabbert.
Saints. Is he in the NFC South?
He is in the NFC West.
He's in the NFC West. So that's is this? Oh, this is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo.
This is Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. Okay. It took me a second.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Jesus, that is hard. Yeah, that is. I know I was thinking for a long time, but that is a hard one. I was not thinking about Jimmy G. Well, isn't he retired though? So technically,
technically, I think he was contemplating retirement. I don't know if he officially has.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was a former second-round pick in 2014.
That is true.
Second rounder. It's crazy.
And he hasn't technically been to like 4 Super Bowls, but he's only a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Only 2-time Super Bowl winner.
But yeah, thanks for the game, man. That was fun.
I think we can always throw a little trivia at the very end.
Yeah, we'll expand our ball knowledge. I gotta warm up the cortical lenses every now. I know that's eye lenses, but
you want to throw one? Do you have one on? You have a trivia player on your mind?
I don't at the moment.
All right. Well, so you can save it for next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna save it for next week. I'm gonna think of some more games. I always like to throw something at the end a little bit, have some fun.
Yeah.
But Josh, that concludes another episode of the Goal Line Guys into our series. Thanks for everyone who joined the live. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, listening to some ball knowledge, talk about the AFC West and expectations. Let us know what you guys think. Who's going to be the winners? Who are the big losers? Best, worst signings, best draft, worst draft, anything that pops to mind. We're the experts to ask.
Yeah, we're the experts. But thank you everybody for joining in. Go follow all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. I think that's all.
We're always around. We're committed. We love this. We love the game. But yeah, that concludes it. Well, Josh, another day, another beautiful night talking about football. You, my friend, have a great rest of your day.
And you too, James. I'll catch you next week.
All right. Sounds good, boss.
All right.